Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. All right, today's topic is it desperation or manipulation? Is it desperation or manipulation? Okay, everybody, before we jump into this topic, I want to say welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to all the new viewers. Welcome to all the new subscribers, and welcome to you who have been with me from the beginning. I appreciate you so very much, and I want to thank you for your comments. Just keep them coming. I read them every evening, and it really lets me know how you feel about these messages. I appreciate you so much. I want to thank those who leave a donation. Thank you so much. It helps the channel to grow. And those of you who are interested in these caps, they are now available in my online store. Just go to the description. At the bottom, you'll see a link that says online store. Just click on that link, and there you are. Okay? All right. Let's jump into this message today. Is it desperation or is it manipulation? Okay, many times we are in relationships that we need to really look at it, to look at why are we in the relationship, especially if we are not happy in it. What is it that keeps us there? Okay, we did get some letters today, and that prompted this discussion, so we're gonna dive right into the letters, and then we're going to talk more about this subject. Okay? All right, here we go. Our first letter is from this young lady that says she's very confused. Okay? Here we go. I've been in a relationship for 5 years, 6 in July, with, I guess you could call, an ex now. Recently, as the last week, we went from distant but fine on Monday to him ignoring me Wednesday afternoon and night and breaking up with me on Thursday. Wow, that was a whole week of breaking up. He was mad that he felt as if I didn't want to entertain the idea of me moving to Indiana with him because he possibly might have had a job opportunity that would have an apartment included. Okay, if he had the job opportunity, what they have to do with you? You understand? You were in a relationship, but you weren't married. So, I don't see why he couldn't just go on and take his job opportunity. Okay. Let's see what else you say here. This question came out of the blue to me because we were speaking about a whole different plan of finishing a tech course that we are now both taking to get better positions to stay where we currently live, which is in Miami, which is expensive now. I know all the big cities are expensive. I know how that can be. Okay, after getting the positions, we would marry and move in together. He also recently talked about moving in with his brother or even co-signing on a property. Okay, so those were the only plans I knew we spoke about. We were at his brother's house with his niece when he told me while I was playing with her, and I was preoccupied, which made him frustrated, which I can understand because sometimes he can be distracted while I'm speaking. But he took that as me not being interested. Well, it's a little confusing the way that you put it here, but from what I gather, he's talking to his brother about moving in with his brother, and you overheard it. Okay, and he's frustrated because I guess you're not interested in whatever he's saying. I asked him questions, but I was mostly processing since he told me not even 15 minutes ago, after walking in the door, after coming from work. Our work schedules are completely opposite of each other lately, so besides text messaging me, we don't even have an opportunity to meet in person to speak on the topic, and he never brought it up again. We text the next day and the first half of the next day, but then he went ghost. I sent him multiple texts and multiple calls, which were ignored, sent to voicemail, or simply picked up and hung up in my face. Why is he acting like this? Because you're not interested in moving to Indiana? Okay. Already he's acting very childish. This is something he always does, mind you, if he is mad at me. It was on the 10th or 11th call that he answered with an attitude, and when I asked him, could he explain what I did wrong, and saying ignoring me won't make things better, when he said, "Who says I want to make things better?" I asked him if that was his attempt to break up. He said, "Yeah." I don't know, but after a series of questions, he was done, and that he can't live like this anymore. You know what? This man sounds like he's about 3 years old. You understand? He's upset because you're not interested in moving wherever he feels like he wants to go. After he reached out to me 2 days later, from his point of view, I gathered that him asking me about Indiana was an attempt to move forward with a life together. We're 32 and 36 right now. Okay, I want to say something about you calling and begging him. Why are you doing that? Why are you chasing him? And that's what you're doing, and begging and pleading for this man to speak to you. Why? What is he contributing to your life that you feel like you can't live without? And that's why you're chasing him and begging him. I want to know, what is it that he's contributing to you? I don't see it in the letter. Ultimately, we've always had different viewpoints on what the next step is for us. For myself, I've always said that I would not move in with someone I'm not engaged or married to, especially in my 30s. Okay. Well, have you voiced that to him? Apparently, he doesn't know that. You see, here's the thing. You say that you have been with this man 5 to 6 years. And you mean to tell me that he's acting like he doesn't know you after all this time? Okay. And I guess I understand why you're chasing him. You understand? Because you've probably been doing this for 5 or 6 years that you've been with him. Every time he gets mad, then you got to be the one to try to patch it up and run after him like he's 3 years old to make him feel better. You understand? You don't want that. Sounds like you're raising a baby. Okay. Also, because I lived in my grandparents' home, I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandmother passed in 2018, leaving my grandpa lonely. I not only feel bad for leaving him behind, but I also don't want to leave his home just to move in with someone else without a huge commitment. For him, having kids is the highest marker for a relationship. It's not like he is against marriage. It's just not an important marker to establish first. Okay, so he's got his own little markers, as you put it, to a relationship. But if they don't comply with your standards and what you expect out of a relationship, well, then you need to voice it. You need to voice it right now and not just go along with his manipulation. No. He says that he wants to live together to see if it would even be worth getting married, because you don't know how two people will be once they live together. This is true. There are some things that come out when you live together. But ladies, and I'm speaking to you from experience, because there was a time in my life that I felt that you got to live together first. You understand? You got to see if you really like living with this person before you make it final, before you get married to him. I used to believe that. I did. But it's false. It's false. You need to know the person before you decide to live or marry them. You need to know as much about the person as you can before that happens. And that takes time. And a lot of people don't want to take that time. You understand? They want to rush into it. It's good in the beginning. You're having a good time. But you forget. You're just in the honeymoon stage. And this is when people decide, yeah, let's move in the honeymoon stage. And that's why a lot of these situationships don't work out. You rush into them too fast. Okay? Let's see what else you say here. He says it would probably motivate him more to get married, I guess, if you live with him first. Don't go for that. That is nothing but manipulation. I understand where it's coming from, because I used to think the same way in my 20s. But in my 30s, I don't think it's worth it. Thank goodness. Thank goodness you came to that realization. It is not worth it. He'll live with you and use you up and then leave. You understand? And then leave. No, you don't want that. He says moving in first, being positive in his own views, coupled with his brothers and friends that have recently called it quits with their girlfriends after having children, realizing that the relationship doesn't work. Well, let me tell you something. I don't care what he says, but you concentrate on what's good for you. What's good for you. And what's good for you. You're on the right path. Don't move in with him unless, you decide you want to marry him. Many times during dating, after a while, if you got your eyes open and looking at things clearly and not letting your emotions run away because you want to be married so bad, but looking at a situation clearly, you may decide that you don't want to marry him. You understand? Don't get caught up in your emotions. Don't get caught up in manipulation. And please, don't get caught up in desperation. Feeling like this is it. I got to make this work because I may not find anybody else, or nobody else may ever come along for me. You understand? Don't feel like that. He says even though it didn't work out, at least they know because they live together. That's baloney. Don't go for that. He also brought up another friend who got married after having 2 kids and that he sees that they are doing well and making moves together. So he sees somebody who had 2 kids first and then got married. Listen, ladies. You can't go by what he says and what he says that he sees, because you don't know what's going on in the life of this person that had the 2 kids and got married. You don't know that. And you don't know where he's getting his information from. He may be getting it from the man that did this, that got some woman pregnant twice and then decided to marry her. You see, if he's getting his information from the man, many times it's because the man is in control. You understand? I'd like to know what the lady thinks about it. That's what I'd like to know. You see, is she happy with him or not? You never know what's going on inside a marriage. It's hard for you to look on the outside and say what's going on. And you can't really go by what people say that marriage is either. People lie. And people try to make it more than what it is. Okay? So you can't always go by that. But I asked him if the main reason they moved in together was because they decided to move in, or because it was pushed by the fact that she was pregnant. And he said that she was pregnant first. She was pregnant twice first. That's not a good situation. And I noticed today it is quite a few men out here who are convincing women to have babies first. And then somewhere along the line of the years, when they get tired of playing around, they may decide to come back to that woman and marry her. But that's not to say that they're going to stop cheating. That's not to say that they're going to treat her with the utmost respect either. They've already taken advantage of her by impregnating her first before they decided to marry her, if ever. You see? Let's see what else you say. I told him that you don't even know if they would have stayed together if the children weren't involved, and that you cannot romanticize their situation. You told him right. If I were to pick between just being divorced or dealing with co-parenting after a relationship ends, I would just pick divorce. At least I'm not tied to someone for life. Okay. My concern now is that when he pulled the plug, which I admit was my biggest fear in the relationship, I cried and broke down. Okay, with you asking questions of concern of him, and not agreeing to move to Indiana, now he's going to break up with you. That show you right there. He wasn't that serious. This is not unconditional love. You understand? He would have worked it out with you if he really loved you. All this time you spent with him, 5 years, and he's still acting this way? This is nothing. Okay. But ultimately, I thought that maybe it was the best, especially with his sister-in-law telling me that I was holding him back. And she probably said this because she didn't want to move to Indiana. I was already mourning the relationship because I know when it comes to him, if he makes a decision like that, he's not going to go back on it, even if he changes his mind or regrets it. So I was shocked that he even texted me asking to talk. Okay, after he broke up with you, Now he wants to talk to you. He told me he regretted saying he was done out of anger and wants to move forward with me, even if it's a courthouse wedding. This is manipulation. It's not love. You understand? You understand? He has his reasons why he feels like, all right, he'll marry you. You understand? You don't want to marry nobody like that. You want a man who really, really sees the benefit in marrying you. And he will not get angry and break it off with you at the drop of a hat. That's a child. And you don't want to be hooked up with a person with a child's mind. And that's what's going on here. Pretty much, he's all in. But now, I'm not sure if I'm all in. I still love him, but I'm not sure if I can take a chance like that now. Don't. You shouldn't. I'm not even sure I want to marry him now. And I feel bad. Why? Why do you feel bad that maybe you feel like you don't want to marry him? This is what dating is all about. You understand? You don't just hook up with a person and marry them just because you spent time with them and you put a lot of energy into them. If they are not right for you, then you need to let it go. Okay? When we met up, we kissed and hugged when we said goodbye. And he's already calling me babe again, but I'm not calling him that as of yet. I'm still hurt over how quickly he pulled the plug, just because he thought I didn't agree. And he has the tendency to do that when we have arguments. He will ignore me, and I'm always the one that has to chase him to resolve things. That you don't want to do. This is what I'm saying. Don't chase these men. Don't beg them either. Don't give your power away like that. You understand? If he wants you, he needs to be the one begging to come back to you, not vice versa. Before last week, I would have gladly accepted doing a courthouse wedding with the promise to do a bigger wedding later. Why? Why are you so anxious to marry this man? I don't get it. I don't understand why you want to marry this man and you're willing to run down to the courthouse to do it if he promises you a bigger wedding. Listen, has he fulfilled all of his other promises to you in the 5 years or 6 that you've been together? You understand? I would never marry a man on a promise of what he's going to do at a later date. You understand? That may never happen. But with how he handled things, it changed my thoughts. I'm not sure whether I should tell him we should remain broken up or if I should give him another chance. No, you shouldn't give him another chance. You've been with him 5 years, and if he has not changed in 5 years, what makes you think he's going to change now? No. Part of me wants to give it a try, to not have to say what if. But another part of me is saying, just cut my losses. I'm literally 50-50, and I feel pressured to make a decision because I know he will get impatient, and I don't want to keep him waiting. Why not? Why not? You're afraid that if you take too long in making this decision, that he will move on without you? Is that what the dilemma is? You understand? I believe this man is manipulating you to do whatever his desire is. And then you, on the other hand, you feel guilty because you don't want to do it, but you don't want to lose him. You understand? Yeah. No, ladies, that's why I say Love yourself. Love yourself. Don't make these decisions to make other people happy and you not so much. You understand? Let it be about you. This man is supposed to provide for you. You understand? He is there to to bring value into your life. Not for you to run after him and chase after him. And that's the reason why he's kind of treating you like this. Because you have been chasing after him. That's why he ghosts you. That's why when you don't comply to his wishes, that he doesn't talk to you for a while. And then he'll come back, he'll give it a few days, for you to suffer. And then he'll come back later and say something to you. Because this is manipulation. He feels like, if he does this long enough, you'll give in. Because you probably had given in the past when he does these things. You understand? That's childish. Children do that. You understand? Okay, let's kind of end this and see what you're saying. I'm ultimately confused on what to do. Okay. I'm going to tell you what I think you should do in a case like this. I think you should concentrate on you, ladies. Too many times we sacrifice ourselves to please a man when it should be the other way around. You understand? Don't be afraid to lose him. That's number one. Don't be afraid to lose him. This is not the only man in the world who would be interested in you. You understand? And if he does not know how to treat you and grow up and act like a strong, intelligent man, you don't need him. What do you need this child for? Every time he gets mad, then he's going to go through these changes. And as the years go on and the both of you, if you stay together and get older, he's going to act out even worse. If you marry him, then you'll get to see him full blown how he is. Understand? Do not live with him. And if I were you, I would stay broken up. If I were you, I wouldn't go back. I always say, never take him back. If a person has hurt you in any way, manipulated, try to control you, do not take them back. They don't change. They'll just come back and try it all over again. All over again. And see, with time, with you taking this kind of treatment, then you will learn to comply just to keep the peace. Comply with it. But what about you? What about your happiness and the things that you desire? You understand? Now, a relationship should be where the both of you can sit down and compromise and come to a decision without one of you storming off, getting mad, and acting like you're a 3-year-old kid. Understand? If you're dealing with somebody like that, I say let them go. Let them go, because they have not grown up yet. And you don't need that headache and aggravation. You see? Now, this man is already doing this in the dating stage. In the dating stage. And he's got the nerve to say, that you should live together or possibly have a baby first. You need to run away from him. Let him go. He's no good for you. This is not it. Okay? I hope that my advice helps you on this and that you can clearly understand this man is not ready for any type of relationship until he grows up. You understand? You don't want to be with a man like that. No. No. Okay? So my advice to you, don't be confused. Move on from him. And you understand? And don't take him back. Don't take him back. Be done. And then, believe me, the universe will bring you something else. But if you work on yourself, once you break up with him and be celibate and all that, the universe will bring you something better. But if you go with that, and you accept this, and if he decides to leave you, period, and you never heal, you're going to get the same thing over again. See, there's a lesson in this. In every challenge in life, there's a lesson that you need to learn to be a better person for yourself, not for the other person, for you. But if you don't learn the lesson, you will repeat it until you learn it. Get it through your head that you deserve better. You deserve better. And, the divine wants to give you better. But if you fight the divine and say, no, I like this right here, well then the universe will give you more of whatever that is. Give you more of it. You understand? I hope that it helps. And move on from him. He's no good. Okay, let's look at another letter here. Says a dating dilemma. I'm 71 and a widow of 6 years. I met a 67-year-old widower of 4 years. He is still employed and looking to buy a home. I am retired and own my own house and my car. I live on my Social Security and a distribution from my investments. Good for you. You sound financially stable. I like that. We have been dating for 1.5 months now, and I really like him. He drives almost 1 hour to pick me up and take me places another hour away. He opens doors for me and is quite the gentleman. I think I feel like a teenager again. Before we started dating, I made plans to travel home to visit family and friends for a couple of months. I am sort of a snowbird. When I reminded him that I was going away, he asked for how long. Okay. I told him and he replied, "Oh, wow," but didn't say anything else. Okay, you said you were going to go and visit your family and friends for a couple of months. Okay. We talked the day I left and wished me a safe trip. But since then, he hasn't contacted me to see if I arrived safely. Some people just not, I don't know if you call that courteous or responsible or what that is, but some people just don't have it. Nobody ever checked on them, see if they arrived safely at places or whatever. Nobody did it to them, so they don't have that in the way that they operate, because nobody showed them that process or did it to them. You understand? So let's see what else you say here. Am I expecting too much? I think he would have called to see if I'm okay. Yeah. If he truly, really, really cared about you, he would. Now let's see how long you said you've been, you didn't say how long you have been. 1.5 months. That's no time. 1.5 months. He is just feeling you out. You understand? You're not in a relationship or anything. He's just kind of feeling you out. Okay. Am I expecting too much? I think he would have called to see if I'm okay. Not necessarily. Because he He hasn't committed to the relationship. He's just trying to see if that's what he wants or not. He's taking his time. And you should too. Don't worry about if he calls you or not. If he had called you, that would have been a plus in his court. But since he didn't, then you got a minus in his court. Okay, these are things that you want to look at. These are things you want to look at, how engaged he's going to be in you. Okay? All right, we got a plus. No, we got one minus in his court. We got no pluses, we got one minus because he didn't check on you when you arrived at your destination. I want to call or text him, but I don't want to seem like I'm chasing him. Well, then don't call and don't text. Just be silent. Be silent. Because he may be waiting to see if you're going to chase him. You be silent. Don't say a word. Okay. I feel so foolish at my age asking for advice. Don't feel foolish. We all need advice at some time in our lives, no matter how old you are. If you're out here living, advice is a good thing, especially if somebody can tell you something that's going to help you in certain situations. So do not be afraid to ask for advice. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't make you feel foolish that you ought to know, because there's a lot of things I don't know. You understand? A lot of things I only know because I experienced it firsthand. You understand? But still, there are some things that I don't know that I may need to ask advice about. So don't be ashamed to ask advice. I should know how to handle these situations, not necessarily. However, I've been out of dating since over 50 years. I welcome your wisdom in this matter. Okay, like I said, don't call, don't text, and don't spend your time thinking about it. Forget it. Totally forget it. You understand? And then if this man is truly interested in you, he will eventually show up and say something. But if he's not, he won't. He may have other things that he's engaged in or whatever. But what it means is that he's not really that into you. That's all. That's all. And don't take that hard. You understand? Because rejection, remember, is divine protection. So whenever you are rejected by anybody, you take that as a blessing. I do. Because the divine can see things that you can't see. You understand? The divine can see way down the line things you can't see. So don't push situations. Don't push it. If this man is interested in you and is in the mindset that he's looking for a committed relationship, he would contact you. If he's not, he won't. It's as simple as that. You don't want to chase him to tilt the scale to where he thinks that you care more about him than he cares about you, and then that's when the manipulation and the control comes in. You understand? You don't want to be on that end. You want to be strong. You want to be beautiful. And let him know that you don't chase men. Okay? And letting him know you don't care if he contacts you, because there are other men who will. You understand? You got to feel this about yourself. That's why I say you got to love yourself. You got to know your own power and who you are. And don't allow the way that other people treat you in certain circumstances is a reflection on you. It's actually a reflection on them. When they do things like that he didn't contact you when you got there and all that, shows he wasn't concerned. He just want to know when you're coming back. He'll engage with you when you come back, because he's probably looking for you to call him when you come back to town. I'm here, so he can come and do you like he wants to. You understand? You don't want to be in that. You don't want to be in that. You want a man who keeps up with you. Make sure you're safe. This is part of the man protecting you. You understand? Ladies, open your eyes. The man should profess, provide, and protect. If he's not doing those things, he's not really into you. Okay? All right. Let's look at another letter here. It's funny because we just talked about this. Should I ask my ex back? I'm going to tell you no right off the bat. Before I even read the letter. You should never take an ex back. Okay? All right. Because an ex is an ex for a reason. Okay? And a lot of times what we do, we forget the reason. It kind of softens over time. You see? You second guess yourself. Maybe I left too early. Or maybe I should have done this. Or maybe I should have done that. No. If it's an ex, let it stay an ex. Okay? Here we go. I was married for 25 years. We are both in our 50s. The last 15 years was strained. Wow, that's a long time to be strained. He traveled for work as a seaman sailor. Home for a month and gone for 3 or 4 months. And we grew more distant as the years went by. Of course you did. He's not there. When he is on work trip, we do not communicate at all. He usually says he has no reception at sea. Even when the ship is docked, he does not call. When he came home from his last work trip after 4 months, I asked if we could talk because we keep growing apart. He refused to talk to me and slept downstairs. Let me tell you what I see going on here before I even finish this letter. You know these guys have a woman in every port. You know that, right? Because if you didn't know that, I'm telling you that. They have girls everywhere they go, there's a woman there. You understand? He's not going without. And apparently, if he's sleeping downstairs and he don't want to talk to you, you are not his priority at this time. Okay? And just because he's married doesn't mean anything. These guys can go to other countries and marry other women you don't even know about. You don't even know about. And have a whole family with kids and everything. You don't even know. It's true when you hear that these guys have a woman in every port. It's true. You understand? And you need to look at it. So I told him if he would not talk to me, he has to leave. He still refused to talk to me. After 2 days, I told him if he doesn't talk to me, he has to leave, or I will call the police. And he left. We have been separated for 4 years. I would like to reconcile with him and would like to reach out to him. Not sure if that is a good idea. No, it's not a good idea. And I told you why. This man, I'm pretty sure, has got women. Let's say this. He's got somebody else. I said women, but in this day and age, it does not necessarily have to be a woman. Okay? He's at sea with a lot of other seamen for months at a time. It could be that. You understand? He could be engaging with another man or men. If it's not another woman. But the point is, he's not into you. You need to leave him. You understand? You already separated. You see, and if there's some benefit, because he's a seaman, and it may be benefit in you just remaining separated. It may be a financial benefit. You see, if something happens to him at sea, then you have insurance or whatever. You understand? It may be a benefit in staying married to him. Okay? Because now you already got him out of the house. Okay? So, with him out of the house, but then you shouldn't be aggravated with his antics. Don't worry about him. Don't reach out to him. Let him go on to do whatever he's doing. Because he's already showed you that you are not his priority. You understand? And you are supposed to be. You're his wife. Okay? But like I said, if there's not a benefit in staying married to him, and let's see, if you told me you're both in your 50s, which means that, you still got living to do. And you might not want to live your life alone. And I hope that while your husband was away, that you were celibate and not going around sleeping with other people. I'm hoping that you were celibate while your husband was away. And when he comes back, I hope you're celibate. You say you've been separated for 4 years. I hope during that time that you were celibate. Okay? Because you don't want to flip over into another relationship if you're still having sex with your husband or having sex with other people. You understand? You need to be clear. And I'm telling you this if you want to be happy in your life. You're in your 50s. It's up to you. It's free will whether you want to remain married to him or not. If you desire someone else, it's better to divorce him and then start over. But if it's better to stay married to him, then you need to be celibate. That doesn't mean you can't have friends. You're just not sleeping with anybody. That's all it means. You understand? And during that time, you're just working on yourself and building your financial empire. Okay? You're not just sitting and worrying about him and wondering, if you're going to be alone, if somebody's going to come and be with you or whatever. You're working on yourself. And you're being happy with yourself, which is very important, ladies. Don't sit around pining on this seaman. Because I'm telling you, when he's at sea, he's going off to something else that's got his attention. It's not you. That's why he's not even calling you when he goes away. His focus is that he's either got a woman in every port, or it could be a man, or it could be somebody right there on the ship. You don't know. But you do know that you are not his priority. That's it. Okay? All right, ladies. I hope that you all understand the message today. Is it manipulation or is it desperation? Are you staying out of desperation? You don't want to do that. You want to love yourself. You want to take care of yourself. You want to honor who you really are and know that you are worth the best, the very best. And if your mate is not offering you his very best, then you need to walk away. Okay? All right, ladies. I hope that my message today helped someone. And I hope that you understand. I hope that I made it clear. Okay. Now, for those of you who have questions that you would like for me to answer, here's the link. Here it is right here. Send your questions to Miss Faye's World at hotmail.com. That's Miss Faye's World at hotmail.com. And try to keep your letters to one page. Just summarize your situation and ask the question. And if you prefer me to answer your question through the email, just put it at the top of your letter. Okay? And this way it won't be overlooked. I appreciate you all so very much. And thank you for supporting this channel. I wish you all happiness. I wish you all goodwill. And I hope to see you next time.